think we can all agree that things are changing, and they're changing pretty fast. And as we get older, any kind of change is difficult because it's unfamiliar. You get set in your ways. You know that old saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, that applies. And the changes that I'm seeing, some of them are good, some of them we needed, some of them aren't so good. And I'm worried about what the end result is going to be from all of these changes that aren't so good. Right now, I'm just learning. I live in a cocoon. I live in my own bubble of, suburbia and old age. There's things that just were outside my bubble pretty much until I got on the internet and started doing YouTube, and I'm learning all kinds of new stuff that I wasn't aware of, and it's been interesting and enlightening, and it's some of it's unnerving, but I just, I'm watching things unfold just like the rest of you, and I don't know where it's going to end up. And I don't even know what can be done about it. It's sad. Some of the changes that are happening for various reasons. Like, we have these two groups now. We've got women that hate men and men that hate women, and they don't even, and they're not even gay. It's not like, they just legit do not want to be in a relationship with somebody of the opposite sex. They would rather be alone. And for some of us, it's hard to understand because we were, I don't know, conditioned, or it's just, in us that we want to have a mate. So I feel bad for people that, for whatever reason, are choosing not to be in a relationship for fear of being hurt or taken advantage of. And I do understand both sides' perspectives. I can see why a lot of women say they would just much rather be single. They don't want to have to deal with, some of the men the way they are today. Not all men. There's still a lot of good men. I've got one. My boys are good men. There's a lot of good men, but there's also a lot of not so good men. I've seen it. And so rather than be with the ones that aren't so good, they're like, just let me be alone, which is sad. Instead, they're giving up. They're not even trying to find a good guy, because there are some good guys. And on the other side of the aisle, there's guys that are in the same position. They're like, I don't want to get involved with this one of these horrible women that are just going to marry me and divorce me and take all my money, because you see it happen time and time again. So they're scared, and they would rather just not even try. So, and we're seeing that more and more. Or at least we're seeing it on the internet. I don't see it in real life, to be honest with you. Everybody in real life seems like they want to have a mate. Or I know a few people that are choosing to be single, but not necessarily for life, just for like this period of time. And we're also seeing people that don't want kids. And that's been happening more and more. That started back in the 60s. People were deciding they didn't want to have kids because they didn't want to bring them into the world the way it is. And some people don't want to have kids just because of the economy. Kids are expensive, and I understand that as well, which is also sad because I cannot even imagine my life without my kids. I and my grandkids, they're everything. And a lot of people are never going to experience that. And I don't want to, I have friends that are in that position, and some of them are quite content. They don't care, really. They're fine. And that's good. I'm glad that they're fine. I would hate to think that they were sad that they missed out. I do know some that do feel that way, and I do feel bad for them. I guess you could adopt if you really wanted one, but if the reason you're not having them is for financial reasons, then you're not even going to adopt. So yeah, we're seeing that kind of situation unfold. And it's odd for me because I was conditioned, it's just the way I was, I don't know, to believe that you grow up, depending on what socioeconomic demographic you were in, You were either going to go to college, get a good job, find a mate, get married, buy a house, then have kids. I never did it in that order, so I'm not really sure if that's the right order. I came from the other side of the railroad tracks where we just grew up and got a job. The whole thing was make money. College wasn't even in the equation. It was never even discussed. It was just get a job, make some money. And so yeah, grow up, make some money, meet somebody, um, have a kid, don't have a kid, get married, don't get married. And if you're lucky, someday buy a house, buy something, And I did all those things, not necessarily in any order that I should have. Oh, I got a message. Hold on. Okay. So yeah, I did all those things, and I even went to college at some point, way later than I should have, but yeah, it's besides the point. But my life turned out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. And I honestly, I probably wouldn't have changed a thing. So, when you feel like your life was successful to some degree, it's not like anybody else would look at me and say, "Oh, yeah, I want to be like that." But I'm happy. My life turned out good. Everything seems to be working for me. And I wish other people could find a good mate and have children and live a good life. And so I do worry about people that maybe, won't get to experience that. But as long as they're happy, it's not my place to preach to them or judge them. I just want people to be happy, whatever path they choose to follow. But it's just so different. And, we're watching this and it's like, what's going to happen? Are we eventually just going to stop having kids? I mean, that's not going to work. But and I don't know if we're at that point yet. I still think the majority of people are having kids. I haven't looked at the numbers. I'm just spouting off the top of my head. From what I'm seeing, it looks like a lot more people are deciding not to have kids, not to get married. And it's just going to change so many things. And I think, I wonder what my parents would think if they were still alive today, how shocking that would be to them, because this was always the goal for everybody. Everybody, grow up, go to college, get a job, get married, have lots of kids. You know, the American dream, you know? Not you don't even have to label it the American dream. It was just, how people lived their life. That's how it was supposed to happen, I guess. But things are changing, and even not just in that regard, for older folks like myself. I'm older than my mom was when she passed away. She was, I think, 62. I'm 63. And I cannot picture my mom doing gig work. I can't picture her having to, she worked. She was a blue collar worker. She had no problem working. She did retail sales. But as far as like doing Uber Eats or something, I just can't even fathom that. Can you do any, can you guys picture your parents if they're in their 60s and above doing this kind of stuff? It just seems so bizarre to me. I wonder what my mom would think of me doing it. Oh, she'd have a fit. She wouldn't want me out there, especially after dark, which I don't do. I've got terrible night vision, so I've decided I'm not going to do any late nights. But so yeah, things are just, they're changing, and now we have AI. Don't even know where to start with that one. And I know there's a lot of good things that are going to come out of it, but come on. Yeah, until all the kinks get ironed out of that, that's going to really change how things are going, and the job market, the economy. It's just, and it's happening fast. This has not been a slow progression. This has happened relatively fast. And I think a lot of us are just in shock because we just don't know how to handle it. And we keep waiting to see what's going to happen. Like, this is just a crazy time and somebody's going to come in and fix it and we'll go back to normal. But I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen this time. I don't know what's going to happen. And I don't know if I'll be around to see it. I hope so. I plan on being around for a while, but you never know. but I'm just curious where it's going to go from here. People can't afford to buy houses. People are living paycheck to paycheck. Um, there's no jobs with pensions anymore. Very few. People just were, our lives are so different than how they were back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s even. Things are just so different now. And um, I look at the young people, and they just they just want to be able to survive. They just all, they're not even thinking along the lines that we were. That's why I think for a lot of them, marriage is out of the equation. It's just unaffordable. So is buying a home. And they're all just trying to survive. It's got to be a scary time, because I know I lived in the time when things looked really wonderful, where you thought the sky was the limit. It wasn't, but you thought it was. At least you had hope. I don't even think these young kids have any hope. They don't know what they're looking at. They're just getting by right now. They're waiting to see what's going to happen as well. So there I go again. So much for making these 5 to 10 minute videos, you guys. It's going to be tough. So I'm going to cut this short. I still have a lot more to say, but I told you I was going to try and keep them shorter. But what are your thoughts? What do you guys think? Is this all for the better? Am I just being an old fart and, afraid to accept new things? I don't think I am. I'm trying to be open, but I'm still a little unnerved by what's happening. I don't fully understand it, and I'm trying to be open to change and go with the flow, because I have no choice, to be honest with you. I'm got to do it. It's, what's the alternative? So I'm going to let you guys go. Please leave me a comment and let me know what you think. I really would appreciate it. I do love hearing from you guys, and I will see you in the next video.